Senator Cotton, does Arkansas have a rivalry week? Do they have anyone that comes to town?
Well, we've got lots of rivals throughout the SEC, Hugh. Unfortunately, we're not doing a very good job of beating many of them this year.
That's okay. I'm not sure the SEC is going to get 3 teams in this time. We'll see. Senator Cotton, in all seriousness, I have not reported on the Russia-Ukraine negotiations because it seems to me there's a lot of purposeful disinformation being pushed out by everybody. What's your understanding of the situation right now?
Well, Hugh, I think the president he's long been is committed to trying to achieve a just and durable peace there, given the realities on the ground. Secretary Rubio was just in Geneva meeting with President Zelensky's team. They appear to have made some progress in protecting the key concerns of Ukraine, and that anyone who wants to ensure Ukraine's independence and sovereignty, like the president does, like you and I do, and make sure there's not a war in the future. Just a few of those items would be, one, for Ukraine to have defensible terrain. I think it's obvious at this point that Ukraine is not going to be able to win back the territory they've lost, at least not in the short term, and that there will be some territory that remains under Russian control. But what absolutely cannot happen is that Ukraine be reduced to borders that are not defensible. And here, terrain and geography matters quite a bit. Second, that Ukraine have a military that can defend itself. The president has rightly urged our allies in Europe and Asia to do more to defend themselves, spend their own tax dollars on their military. Ukraine's been doing that. We don't want to deter them from doing it. 3, I think it's important that we not grant recognition to any of the territory that Russia has unlawfully seized. We haven't done that in Georgia for 17 years, and for 75 years we didn't do it in the Baltic states. We never recognized Soviet Russia's sovereignty over Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia, nor should we do that in Ukraine.
Now, one of the things that happened over the weekend was a much wringing of hands over the United States pressure on Ukraine to allegedly give up cities that had not been taken by the Russians. That's been walked back, but it does seem to me that the media is more eager to criticize Trump than they are to know what's in the deal. Have you noticed that?
Well, that's typical for the liberal media with Donald Trump and really from most Republicans. And I agree that from the leaks that came out last week, that was one area of concern. It's important to note that the battlefield is shifting every day. Russia has made gains, for instance, around the town of Pokrovsk, but Ukraine has also made gains. Now, these gains are very small here. You're talking about gains in hundreds of meters at a time, to give you a sense of just how grinding the war on the Eastern Front has become. In the end, those small tactical differences of territory are not terribly troubling for long-term strategic stability. What would be troubling is if Ukraine ends up surrendering key defensive terrain. Again, terrain matters a lot. I'm in East Arkansas right now, and this is farm country. It's very flat. It's not very defensible. The terrain that Ukraine retains has to be defensible, because if it's not, if Russia ends up taking territory that is behind defensible lines, that allows Vladimir Putin or whoever follows him in the future to basically have a thunder run from their line of contact to Kyiv in the future. So I really can't stress on how important it is that once there is a ceasefire in any kind of peace agreement, that Ukraine retains defensible lines and a military that can defend those lines.
That is, I've been covering with Dr. Leon, president of Hillsdale College, Winston Churchill's World War II memoirs, and we're in the first volume, The Gathering Storm. When the Munich Agreement came down, Czechoslovakia gave up their line of fortresses, which Germany occupied in the Sudetenland. And then when they decided to swallow up the rest of Czechoslovakia, it was easy to do because they'd given up their fortresses. That we're not insisting on Ukraine doing anything like that, to your knowledge, are we?
Well, I mean, I can't imagine that Donald Trump would know that. He knows those lessons of history. And, there's a long chain of appeasement of Germany in the 1930s. Some of that was more consequential than others, but the example I use is the most consequential of all. It's not just that Czechoslovakia had to give up more territory. That territory was specifically designed and built up for years to be the defensive line against a German invasion, with
Correct.
bunkers and trenches and artillery positions and other kinds of reinforcements. Ukraine has done something similar on territory that is still in Ukrainian hands, and that's why it's so important that that defensible territory that has been built up now for 11 years remain in Ukrainian hands.
And now to switch subjects on our last minute, Senator. Lebanon was the scene of another Israeli attack that took out the chief of staff of the Hezbollah military wing, the second highest ranking Hezbollah official and probably the most important member of the military. And that's a good thing. Do you understand that to be a static battlefield or one on which Israel is got the United States backing to do what it has to do in southern Lebanon?
Well, first off, Hugh, I don't know about you, but if I were a leader inside of Hezbollah at any level, I'd probably try to make contact with Israel and tell them I don't want to be a part of Hezbollah anymore.
Yeah, how do I come over?
Well,
yeah,
I'll tell you where all my former buddies are. Look, Israel utterly devastated Hezbollah's leadership a little over a year ago. They've taken a lot of their weapons and other resources. Hezbollah is not yet over and done for, but I think if they are going to be disarmed, just like Hamas in Gaza, in the end, it's going to be the Israeli Defense Forces. It's not going to be any kind of international force. I mean, we've had that with Hezbollah in Lebanon for years with UNIFIL, and the idea that they're going to go in and disarm Hezbollah in firefights is just preposterous. It's going to be the Israeli Defense Forces, and the United States should back the IDF to the hilt to finally eliminate once and for all.
Well, Senator, we just lost you because you're somewhere in Arkansas that is yet to develop cellular, but we appreciate your talking to us and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.